Gotta quickly relocate this guy from residential areas. Your new home. Come on. I've just found a land crab on the side of the road here. Here it is. It is active, but when you ball your hand up around them, they typically calm down. It's a good tip. And we are not too far away from a stream. All the ones I've seen of this species so far have been next to a stream. So they are land crabs, but do require water nonetheless. And these guys make burrows in the banks around here. And this one was sitting underneath a rock. So off you go. Oh yeah, and under the same rock, this is what the real target was. There was one of these Paraphrynus, a small one, hanging out in there with the crab. Got a little rhinoceros beetle dude here on this log. And this one I've seen before. I think if I pick it up, no? Usually they make noises. They make like squealing noises, but I guess this one doesn't want to do it. A lot like Cerambycid would, which is a longhorn beetle. They make this sort of zipper sound. And this is a Dynastid, family Dynastinae, though I'm not really sure which species. Little baby Paraphrynus here. And if we come over here, we can see a Paraphrynus with eggs. They have their eggs on the underside of their abdomen, and a small film covers it, and their abdomen becomes kind of concave when they do this to provide more space for those eggs. Best not to bother this one too long then. I'm gonna put the log back. I was stripping a piece of bark here, as you can see, and a big Blabris giganteus came out. This one is something that you'll see during the night, not typically active during the day, but since I disturbed it, now it is out. I'm gonna release it back here. On the side of this tree, quite predictably, we also had a Paraphrynus. I was kind of afraid that I wouldn't see one because it would be a bit out of the ordinary. Perfect habitat to see one in because of course it's vertical and has long crevices for them to hide in. Found this guy wedged between the bark and the tree. What is this? I know it's a B. giganteus, but is this just one molt away from being an adult? Or is it just a female? I don't really know. I'm not very good with cockroaches. Not something I really study. But either way, it's quite muddy. Can't even see the pattern on the thorax, which is kind of unfortunate for this species. Not counting the wings, it seems to be about the same size. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a female. Because I know a lot of cockroaches have flying males and fully terrestrial females. We got a little whip spider here, Paraphrynus. And behind it is a pretty cool Opilione, maybe Vonones, not sure. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, there it is. There's quite a few species in this area, but I think this one's my favorite. And behind the second piece of wood, we have another whip spider. Oh, there's one here too. And the one that was under this piece is right there. So 1, 2, and 3 juveniles in one spot. Spider down here in the vegetation. This is Ancylometes bogotensis. It's a species of wandering spider. No common name. And while it isn't from the infamous genus Phaneutria, this is definitely a spider you do not want to get bitten by. Looks a lot like a wolf spider of sorts, but I promise you, this is a wandering spider. And these ones are quite easy to identify because of the lateral stripes there on the cephalothorax and those white markings on the legs there. Another Paraphrynus with its eggs here, right there. These ones are much more early stage. The film isn't really developed all that much, and the eggs are super visible because of it. While it is really easy to flip a Paraphrynus, it is also possible to find them at night with just as much ease. So we're going to poke around a bit, look at some trees and whatnot, and see if we can find a few Paraphrynus at night. A whip spider down here. These are more common than I ever could have imagined in this region. Well, this species at least. I'm sure there's more of them out here. Did I just lose it? No, there it is. I couldn't say with absolute certainty if this mantis was from the genus Rhamdia, but it certainly looks a lot like it. And they certainly do have very similar habits of sitting on the sides of trees, having some good camouflage, and generally just waiting for prey to pass by. On this tree, there's a worm down here. I don't think the mantis would eat that. But on these trees quite often, you'll have insects, like that beetle up there, just kind of crossing up and down. So it is a good place to wait. At this point in time, this whip spider right here is the largest one I've seen. And of course, these are quite easy to catch if you do it the way you're supposed to. And if you're doing this with one hand like I am, it's kind of tough to let go and expect them to stick around because they're quite flighty. Here's that whip spider again. It's chilled out now. And even though these do have chelicerae and they have those pedipalps that look a bit menacing, this group of arachnids, amblypygids, whip scorpions, do not have any venom glands and therefore are pretty much harmless. Though on the larger species, these pedipalps can do quite a number. Feels like little needles entering your skin. There's a whip spider up there, and oftentimes you'll see them on trees, quite normal. But I don't think I've ever seen one this high up in a tree so thin. It's really just, I don't know, 10 centimeters around or so, maybe a little bit more. It's also about 2 meters, 3 meters off the ground. So quite interesting. There's a salamander up here chilling in this tree. And it kind of caught me off guard because I thought I was supposed to be looking for these Bolitoglossa salamanders in like palm trees or something like that. Like, you know, plants with big leaves, kind of like this. But this one's just hanging out on a very random branch, thin one. And these leaves are quite small. So I guess my judgment was way off. Let me get him down from there and then I'll put him back up. All right, I just put him down on this leaf here so I wouldn't have to touch him too much. And the first thing I noticed is how dry the skin is. It's honestly feels kind of like a toad if a toad weren't so bumpy. And look at the feet there. The webbing to an extreme, to the point where it looks like the feet are just pads. Oh yeah, and I especially like the little snout they have there. 2 little bumps. On this tree here, we have a whip spider. Quite a nice one. Seems to be complete, so to speak. And right above it, there's a Centruroides bicolor. It may seem off that these are living together, but they do share a very similar niche in the way that they are largely arboreal. However, the whip scorpions are really good about living with other predators because they're so sensitive that bicolor never really gets close enough to the point where it can feast on these, but I'm sure it has happened at some point or another. And right over here, there's a Katydid. This is Chloroscirtus, though I'm not really sure what the species is. This is an adult female. You can see the little hook-shaped ovipositor on the abdomen there. And usually these aren't really found on trunks, but it is raining right now, so it's probably trying to stay dry. Usually these things just get away as soon as possible. I don't know what this one's doing. There he goes. There's a whip spider right there. There's one right there. And one down there. There may be more on this tree. I'm sure there are. It's quite a big tree for them to be on. I think it's like a ficus or something. And they're all living in the in-betweens. Actually, look at this. That's the one we were looking at the bottom. There's one right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 just in this one area. On this same tree arch, that with spider being the first one I showed you, there's a 5th. And there is a 6th one. This one is even bigger than all the other ones. The one I just showed you is right there. This Katydid looks like a lobster Katydid, which is Phanocles specularis. But like the Walmart version. I mean, already it's not huge compared to that species, which is one of the largest in South America. But, you know, it's just still a subadult. Not as spiny, not as impressive, but love to see these guys out here. We've got a Paraphrynus right up on this tree. First time I've seen one actually on this tree. It's along the path, so I would have expected to see it before. Maybe it lives on the backside usually. And this one is quite plump. So just now you saw that the second pair of legs was pretty much just stationary. But as soon as they start to walk, they do start to extend those legs right there just to feel what's in front of them. Pretty interesting design. Quite effective too. All right, mister. Off you go. I see a catfish down here. A small one. I've been to this river quite a few times, not seen a single one. So I think I'm going to try to catch that. I'm not sure how difficult that'll be, but we'll try. You see a whisker right there and a tail. All right, here's our catfish. Took quite a while to catch. I think about 15 minutes, but somehow I think it was worth it. Cute little guy. Off you go. Come on. There you go. Down here on this ficus tree, quite a nice one actually, we have a whip spider, and this is quite an interesting one. The reason is it probably gave birth to little whip spiderlings recently. This abdomen here that's kind of misshapen, flat, and bent awkwardly probably had eggs under it. And then once the amblypygids are ready to hatch and then molt once, they leave, and then the mother's left with this sort of weird abdomen. Off you go. Here we have a big stick insect, which I pulled down from a plant above. And of course, these are quite tough to handle without them kind of just flailing everywhere. And this one is missing a leg, as they oftentimes do. Now it's climbing up my shoulder. Here I was able to find the stick insect again, and I found it up in these bushes here, so I'll just put it there. Uh-oh, it's climbing up again. Get off. We've got a whip spider on this tree. I haven't seen any on this tree until now, but it is quite a good one. It's got some good folds and whatnot where it can hide during the day. And it is waiting for prey. It's running away from me. But unfortunately for it, it looks like these ants have formed a vertical line running up and down the tree, but it isn't really a good thing for prey. They generally don't want to be in the way of ants, and this one is almost directly on the line. Well, that will be all for looking for Paraphrynus in Western Panama. I think we found a pretty good number of them. So yeah, thank you for watching.